Wednesday, the 15th of February, hello everyone, and this is your Frontier Opening Bell. Let's hit the ground running. Just what's coming through early Wednesday that the Nigeria Supreme Court has deferred until February the 22nd, the hearing of the suit brought before the highest court in the land regarding the new Naira notes policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. So today was the initial date set. There were parties in court and all of that. There were a few more other states that were joining the initial three state governments that were protesting against the praying that the Supreme Court extends the deadline for the use of the old Naira notes and ask the central bank to print more of the new Naira notes into the system. All that is all mixed up right now. But that's the situation this morning. Nigerians yet to have clarity as to what happens next. We expect to hear from the central bank or from the government over the course of the day and in the days ahead until the 22nd of February. Nigeria's general elections is hotly contested, is holding on February the 25th. So let's get into the market. 24 basis points yesterday. The shares of Access Corp went in the green territory. MTN climbed roughly 1.8%. The shares of a few other companies, Lafarge Africa, which is the third largest cement maker, also moved up yesterday. So those highly priced stocks, well-capitalized companies lifted the NGX to 54,496, and that's the second gain of the week. The rally continues despite the liquidity crunch and physical cash that millions of Nigerians are going through on the streets. The PRVM went up 26 basis points, just keeping that trajectory with the Nigerian stock market, while the Egyptian stock market has had its first shoot on Tuesday, 1.26% after a decline on Monday, and Tuesday on the EGX 30, 17,430. The Nairobi stock market down by 27, while the South African stock market was better by 0.68%, 79,000, slightly below, still below the 80,000 level, as we saw the European and the US markets ignore the US inflation data of 0.5% for January that was reported on Tuesday. Keep those things in mind. Let's move on very quickly. Some of the big stories this Wednesday was around Kenya President William Ruto adopting Uhuru's draft trade deal with the United States under the current U.S. President Joe Biden. And Kenya's FX reserves dipped to a 10-year low because of debt repayments. That's about the U.S. Exim Bank is handing a default note to the Kenyan government for the billions of shillings that were taken as a guarantee to support Kenya Airways. Kenya has now defaulted on that payment, and about 2.9 billion shillings, and the administration in Nairobi has now been handed that default note. That was the news on Tuesday. DR Congo says it's adopting 3 bills for $39 million funding that is expected to come into the country, while Uganda is keeping its oil dream alive despite rising criticism for that multi-billion-dollar oil and gas project that President Yoweri Museveni's administration is pursuing aggressively. Green, Yellow, and ASEA has launched 18 megawatt solar plants in Madagascar's Sava region. That's on the island of the Indian Ocean. So let me take you straight to West Africa and I just touch about Nigeria's headlines through the old Naira swap. The Supreme Court decision was today. The court has decided to move the case forward, shift it forward until the 22nd. That will be just 3 days before the hotly contested elections, which was, of course, the headline of that is the presidential election. President Buhari is leaving office on the 31st of May. OPEC yesterday released its February monthly report and says global oil demand will stand at 2.3 million barrels per day, and says oil demand growth in OPEC countries, or OECD countries, will be about 0.4% growth, while about 2.0% better in non-OECD countries. The IEA, which is the International Energy Agency, also released its outlook on global oil demand on Tuesday. Quite a lot's happening also today between the IEA as well as OPEC. Taj Bank Limited is a non-listed lender, but went to the Nigerian exchange on Tuesday to list its 10 billion Mudaraba Sukuk on the Nigerian exchange, and that's bringing the non-listed bank onto the capital market. And Ghana's local debt swap closed with more than 80% registration, and also the news came through. And today we got news that Ghana's inflation came in slightly lower than previously reported for the first month in the 2023 year. And be on the lookout for the Africa Capital Market Forum 2023, which will take place March 16 and 17 in Ivoria's financial capital, Abidjan. It will be hosted in the main by the BRVM. So, Southern Africa has got quite a lot of headlines. Spar Group, Spar, the grocer listed on the GSA reported, is a bit of a smaller single-digit 7.8% sales growth for the 18 weeks ended January, despite a bit of a decline in liquor retail business, part of its activities, and that's in the news. Vodafone says it's taking 65% stake in South Africa's Vodacom, while DSTV has raised its subscription rates. Premium now in South Africa will be 994 Rand per month, all packages in that particular amount. And Africa is expected to have about 15.57 million paying subscribers video on demand by the year 2028 from the current 6.15 million subscribers. And that's according to data released by an independent firm in the UK. And the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange will be hosting the SADC region's stock exchanges meeting, as well as the ASEA, African Securities Exchange Association's annual meetings later in April. And North Africa, that's where I'm going next with a couple of headlines just to sum it up for you on the show this Wednesday. South Sudan has suspended the use of the US dollar in the country as the de facto currency announces its local currency will be in use. And the Fitch has confirmed BMCI's AAA rating and the stable outlook. BMCI is listed on the BRVM, that's in Cote d'Ivoire. And UAE's Dana Gas is looking to pump about $100 million investments into Egypt in over the next 2 years period, while Cuba and Algeria and North Africa are discussing trade and cooperation. Everyone needs that, don't they? But we all need a lot of cooperation that we can all put together. It's a world of cooperations right now. That's about it for today on the show. I am Bosin Omofayedu. Do have a great day and see you back on Frontier Africa Reports tomorrow.